Hey guys, what's going on? 2025 is almost here. In this podcast, I want to talk to you about why we are facing the most bearish bull market in history. And clearly, you probably are somewhat familiar with some of the points I'm going to bring up to your attention in this podcast if you paid close attention to the last 100, 200 videos. So just to summarize a few things quickly, okay, just to make sure we're on the same page, okay? Wall Street pays attention to Federal Reserve. And it will go along with Federal Reserve until there is a point when Federal Reserve admits that they have fucked up. So we are at that moment now. And in the last few podcasts, I brought up a point that in July 2024 meeting, Powell made a fool of himself by one of the journalists was asking him a question about stagflation. And, you know, we've been talking about stagflation for about a year now, saying that that's where the United States economy really is. So the journalist proposed a question to Powell, and he said, hey, what's stagflation? I don't see the stag. I don't see the inflation. Okay? And so shortly after that, fast forward to August, okay, he does see the stag, which the employment number that comes really short. And the result of that, Powell drops the pence and cuts the rates by 0.5 point. So that was his admission to the market. Oh, shit. I was blind in July, but 30 days later, okay, he's no longer blind. All of a sudden, he can see. Powell can see. What a change from July to September meeting. He can't see shit in July. All of a sudden, he can see and cuts the rates by 0.5 point in September. And the biggest come to Jesus moment for the Federal Reserve is, something that they've been saying they had under control, right? And the market went along with it for 3 fucking years. And the market I think the market still can't believe what the fuck just happened on December 18th, right? Basically, Powell admitted that he's no longer blind to fucking inflation. So all the shit that he said absolutely did not exist in July. It sure did hit him upside the head in September and December meetings, and therefore the outcome, and therefore the reaction of the market in both instances to the poor economic, or what would be the confirmation of the stag part or the slowing economy part back in August, and the confession of the Federal Reserve to the fact that inflation is not under control and that they have fucked up by beginning to cut rates too early. Now, that is the clear message to someone that studies the market. Now, you may hear some other people interpret it slightly different, but the reality is not going anywhere. You have a Fed that is confessing to the mistakes they've made. Well, last time Federal Reserve did that, there was a moment in time, actually, we don't even have to go back that far. There was a moment in time in the last few years when Federal Reserve basically said inflation is transitory. And the Federal Reserve has been in denial for quite some time until they finally said, fuck, it's not transitory, damn it. And the market dropped 19%. So, within a very short amount of time. So basically, anytime you have a point of reckoning in the market where the market has been blindly believing whatever the Fed does, Fed can do no wrong, but guys, the truth is Fed ain't got no clue, okay? They're looking at the economic data that is... the truth is we've been lied about the economic data for about 3 or 4 years. Every job report's been cooked and revised promptly shortly afterwards. after the market reaction has already been positive to a majority of these job reports. And, we're about to enter a stage when these fake economic report data crap is going to stop, because the market's going to drop in a big fucking way before Donald Trump inauguration. And when he's going to see Bitcoin crashing, when he's going to see the market crashing, the first thing he's going to do when he's going to come into office, he's going to say that, hold on, it's the fucking Democrats. They have fucked up the market. And the reason why they have fucked up the market, because they have lied to you guys about all the economic data. They've been lying to you. That's what he's going to say. And the reason he's going to say that, because the market is going to be dropping. And he's going to need to have a clean slate because, of course, Trump is the great victor of the markets. He cannot have the market do nothing wrong under his presidency. Well, the only way he's going to be able to have a clean slate with the markets is to basically say, well, the Democrats have misrepresented all the numbers while I was gone in the last 4 years, and that's why the market is dropping. And I'm going to tell you the numbers are actually way worse than they have represented them, and the market's going to fucking drop. And that's how he's going to reason it. After that, it actually gives him a good platform to bring the market back up. Okay? After that, he can say, but now, guys, we're going to focus on the real numbers. Now that you know how bad the numbers were in reality, they were nowhere the numbers that they were showing to you. But now that you know the real numbers that my administration has looked into, this is how ugly shit really was. But now we're going to focus on the forward-looking numbers from here on. And so once he brings all these numbers that have been cooked to real numbers, or somewhat that could be close to reality, any numbers that he's going to be reporting looking forward, okay, actually have a chance of beating those ugly numbers that were entirely misrepresented over the course of last 3 years on the Democrats. So it would be in his interest to do so. The great mispricing, the great misrepresentation on which the market participants have been acting for the over the course of the last 3 years, okay, is finally going to be brought to reality. And the fact that the first reality check is the Fed, the second reality check is the actual numbers, and we're going to have a revelation on both of these things. We had the revelation already on the Federal Reserve fucking up, saying that they fucked up again. But besides the reaction on the 18th, we officially have a 2 moves that are 3-3 moves, with which basically we have not had a 3-3 sequence in a long time in the market. And the fact that it is happening right ahead of New Year, when everyone was expecting what? Everyone is expecting the Santa Claus rally, damn it. Okay? Well, we told you a month ago Santa Claus rally was going to be canceled. You can go back to the channel. It's all timestamped. We told you Santa Claus rally was going to be canceled, and it is canceled. The market is chart-wise, and expansion of the move-wise to the downside is clearly telling you that things are about to get extra ugly. And I pointed out that on December 18th, that was just a little preview of, how ugly things could get. And so, it is absolutely astounding that a lot of Wall Street analysts, they go on CNBC and they have these bullish talk. They still don't get the fucking point. And those are the analysts that never look at the charts. They may look at some statistical data, okay? And they could say, well, but anytime the market is up this much for the year, okay, well, guarantees you're going to have a Sancho rally. The probability of a Sancho rally is so high. Yeah, it is so fucking high. That's why the market is dropping every day. It is so fucking high. Damn it. Like, if they just knew some statistical data from 13 market moves, which pointed to the fact that the beginning of the big drop was going to be in December. In the last few podcasts, I told you guys the big fucking move, the big move drop is going to be, when the market's going to be open for trading in 2025. But I said, don't wait until that, because the options could be overpriced. The way you get in some easy trades is a few days prior to that. And that's exactly what we got Friday. That's exactly what we got today. And guys, 3-3 move that has not happened in a long time. There is a high probability outcome of another red day for the markets tomorrow. But what you should be focusing on is not on an easy 10x trade tomorrow, which those of you that sign up to trade with the coach, you will get tomorrow. But what you should be focusing on in the translation of what does that really mean? Most of the analysts, they're focused on, the hyped up AI story, which I believe is going to backfire in a crazy way in 2025. So if we were to get specific for a moment, I would say that majority of the Mag 7 or Mag 10 stocks are going to hit so fucking hard in January, specifically in the first week of January, that majority of the world is simply not going to fucking believe it. Okay? So Mag 7, Mag 10 stocks is the worst trade going into 2025. Now, I'm not saying they're going to remain the worst trade for the duration of 2025, but I am saying that the market is highly underestimating the size of the downside move that will hit the Mag 10 stocks. And if it's going to hit the Mag 10 stocks in such a profound way where, you're looking at Meta trading at, recently at 617, 630. Man, don't be shocked when this shit is trading at 417, 430. It's coming. It's coming, y'all. And it's going to happen a lot sooner than an average market spectator could possibly even remotely think of. Nobody's thinking about the size of the move that's about to hit the fucking markets, because an average Wall Street analyst is bullish as fuck. I mean, we used to be in a situation until last 2 weeks that 99.99% of Wall Street was bullish. Well, shockingly, still 90% of fucking Wall Street is bullish. So even though you missed some crazy trades like on the 18th and some recent trades in the last few days, guys, the point is there are some wild trades that are going to be happening, and they're not going to be on the call side. Okay, there are some calls to consider in the energy sector, and I'll record a separate video on that. But it's quite simple. At the end of the year, it's quite simple. You take the greatest performers, and most of the time they're going to be the shittiest performers the following year, or at least for a fraction of the year. So you take the greatest stocks of 2025, and they're going to be absolutely dog shit for at least a portion of year in 2025. So, I mean, there's some like hidden gems out there, like, for example, Carvana short that, we have not been publicizing a lot, but recently that trade's been really killing it. I'm not talking about some basic stuff like MSTR that we have brought to your attention multiple times over and over and over and explained to you why 2 plus 2 should really equal 4 instead of an 11. But the whole market is still in that market setup and composition where there's so many things that are happening that just to bring a few things more to your attention that I don't think, like, it is shocking why nobody's talking about these things. They're so obvious, right? It's not about the trade deficit or the budget deficit, but it is about the trade deficit and the budget deficit that is about to skyrocket to a level where Republicans, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, they're talking about how they're going to, dodge you the hell out of, government spending, how they're going to stop the wars around the world. None of that shit is going to happen, guys. Because if you actually, the words that are coming out of their mouth, okay, and their actions are exactly the opposite. And it is important because if Trump really wanted to stop a war in Ukraine, all he would have to do is what? Cut all the fucking funding. Fuck you, motherfucker Zelensky, who kills fucking his population without mercy. He don't give a fuck about Ukraine. Cut the motherfucking spending. Get rid of that piece of shit. And the war is going to stop. Okay? Let the country elect a lawful leader. Not some fucking corrupt motherfucker, who just keeps going around the world collecting fucking money. His wife driving the motherfucking Bugatti. And average citizen in Ukraine dies. Like, that's not a definition of a leader. That's a definition of a piece of shit who doesn't give a fuck about his country. Okay? But, like, if Trump wanted to stop the war, yeah, he could stop it by saying, hey, we're not giving Ukraine a motherfucking dime. Okay? And before you know, oh, shit. Oh, Ukraine is talking about peace talks now? Oh, England is cutting fucking spending too in Germany, which, goddamn, is in a motherfucking economic depression. For once, they may do something that's actually good for their country. They're not going to give Ukraine any more money. Wow. What a fucking shocker. But guess what? Everyone Trump has appointed to negotiate peace with Ukraine, they're not pro-peace. They're fucking war hawks. So the probability of peace in Ukraine is total shit. Okay? So everything so far he has campaigned on is bullshit. Okay? Which, still he's a better candidate, which, unfortunately a lot of things, the reasons to why, people voted him is not going to be a reason why, is not going to be what's going to happen throughout his presidency. Now, that's a fact. So that's just the point on war and why, despite of being so bearish in a lot of sectors of the market, we are partially bullish. Natural gas, oil, the whole world is fucking bearish as hell on oil. But you cannot have natural gas go up on certain days by 20-30% and oil 1%. There's got to be an adjustment in near term where oil is going to have 2-3% days higher, 5% days higher. And basically, if, the whole world is going to dump the big 10 stocks, they're going to be sitting there wondering where do we put the fucking money in? We got to put it somewhere. Well, what sector could be interesting at that point? Well, there's going to be one sector that has underperformed in 2024, which is the energy sector. All energy stocks are down. All oil stocks are down. They haven't seen a daylight in 2024 because every Wall Street analyst was expecting what? Oh, oil's going to go higher because China's going to rebound because, China's going to come out of COVID. And, sure enough, well, it didn't happen that year, but it's going to happen this year. But it's, so Wall Street analysts, they completely fucked up the oil trade. I mean, every Wall Street analyst they invited to CNBC got the shit wrong. Right? And they reached out to 30 Market Moves. I'm like, fuck you. We're not going to know CNBC bullshit. Like, I know you guys are running out of options because every motherfucker you invite out there, they get shit wrong, period. Don't get me started. They got this Tom Lee motherfucker today. He's like, the guy's got zero level of confidence in the fact that market's going high. You could just see it. I mean, for the first time in a long time, Tom Lee is like not the same Tom Lee that's been able to celebrate the fake market movements over the last 3 years. Tom Lee is like being interviewed, and he's like, yeah, it is unfortunate that the market is dropping while we were calculating for a center rally. But despite of that, we think S&P is going to go to 7,000 in 2025. Man, get the fuck out of here, Tom Lee. Tom Lee is officially going to be the worst Wall Street analyst of 2025. Because let me tell you something. That guy has been bullish historically at some of the greatest bearish, pivotal, colossal moments in the market, Bitcoin, crypto, you name it. And for the first time, you can look at this guy in a long time and can see he is clueless what he's talking about. He can have a research team of 1,000 motherfuckers running around collecting data for him. I don't care, okay? He has no clue about 2025. And the market's been looking up to him. And the only reason he has gotten a lot of the partial bull market correctly is because we've continuously been receiving the bullshit data. And that's about to stop, as I explained in the beginning of this message. So you look at Tom Lee in today's interview with CNBC, and you can see that Wall Street has fucked up. He may be saying that the market is going to 7,000, but you can clearly see he does not fucking mean it. So the guy's deflated like a balloon, because he doesn't get the center rally, which according to him had an absolute insane probability. Well, yeah, when the market is up so much, yeah, you're going to get a center rally, my ass. Okay, so that interview is probably going to go down as probably my second best piece of evidence for 2025. The first piece of evidence would be the interview with Powell in July, where that clown is saying, I can't see the stag or deflation. Okay, somebody get this motherfucker some glasses. And in September, he gets the glasses. He's like, oh my God, I can see it now. Thank you, Jesus, I can see. Cut the fucking rates, 0.5 point. Hurry, y'all. And he pays a doctor visit again on, December 18th. Oh my God, I can see inflation now. I am healed. Minus 1,000 points on NASDAQ. Fucking Powell is healed. Well, Powell's healing with his eyesight means serious health issues for the market. So It starts with that, and then you got an analyst that have been highly applauded over the last few years with his bullish calls, which, by the way, he never goes bearish. Never. I've never heard this guy saying one fucking bearish thing ever in his life. Compared to someone like that, here at 30 Market Moves, we have made a plethora of bullish calls at precise moments, like at the absolute bottom of the fucking COVID. We've told you to buy calls, and I remember that was back in the days when we used to have a comment section on YouTube, and we stopped that because people just put some stupid fucking shit in there. People were like, why would you buy calls? S&P is at 2,300 and it's going to go down way lower. Why would you buy calls? Yeah, says a guy just absolutely clueless. So just to avoid confusion, guys, I mean, it's ridiculous. All the spam that the comments get from people that are like not even real people. And anyways, we stopped doing the fucking comment. But you can actually go back in the YouTube and check how timely we have nailed some of the bottoms in the market. And, I mean, I can go example after example, but fuck that. Okay, we don't have time for that. What you need to be focused on right now is, you got Powell, you got Tom Lee, okay, that are healed. I mean, Tom Lee is not 100% healed. He'll never be fucking healed. He's still on CNBC. He still talks about a 7,000 S&P. Bro, S&P's got zero chance of hitting 7,000 in the next 5 years, dude. Like, people absolutely don't understand what this trade deficit and budget deficit combined. In the 80s, they used to call them the twin deficits, right? However, if you listen to some economists, they'll say, well, there is no connection between the budget deficit and the trade deficit. And that probably calls for a separate podcast on that. But just so you understand how fucked up things really are, I mentioned the war in Ukraine is one of the things that Trump was saying he was going to stop immediately. Well, based on the people he appointed and based off so far on his actions, he's not serious about it. Another thing that he's not serious about that is highly publicized is him and Elon Musk wanting to cut the government spending. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't them two just wanted Congress to lift the budget ceiling indefinitely for the next 2 years? I mean, they may be saying that, I don't know if this whole idea of Dodge is a good metaphor for something that you're supposed to cut, right? I mean, unless you would use this metaphor to, to cut. I can't even word it perfectly. There was a point Dogecoin drops from like almost $1. It's going up to almost $1, and then it drops to almost a few pennies. So that would be cutting Dodge, in a big way. So if Dodge is a committee to cut the government spending, that could be a good metaphor. But at the projection they're going now, okay, Dodge would be a good metaphor to explode the government spending based off the proposed action. So Trump, spoke about the idea of cutting government spending when he was campaigning, and his current actions and Elon Musk act totally different. They want a free right ticket to create as much debt as fucking possible. That's the fucking reality. So if you look at the actions, okay, budget deficit is about to go to the moon. We're at 36 trillion. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we're at 40 trillion, like in the next 12 months. And there is a study that has been done recently that points out to the fact that for every dollar increase in the government deficit, in the budget deficit, there is a 30% increase in the trade deficit. So, and there is this AI thing that, I was curious about that subject to find if there was in reality a correlation or not. And so I asked Perplexity. I said, hey, what's the deal? And Perplexity has basically said, look, there is indeed empirical data that proves that for every dollar increase in budget deficit, you have an increase of 30 cents in trade deficits. The reason the trade deficits are so important is it has an impact on United States dollar. It has an impact on oil, on gold prices, on everything, and interest rates, and yields, and bonds. And the term that you now hear quite a bit is the bond vigilante. It refers to someone that profits and benefits when bonds drop. And that term was highly popular in the 80s because it was a period of an increased inflation. It was a period when Federal Reserve was fighting inflation, and they had to continuously raise rates. And in a period of higher inflation environment, bonds is the last fucking thing you want to have your money in. So the return of the bond vigilantes could be very much real, not based off today's trading session. Clearly, you have a situation that spells entire collapse for the market. You have a trading session today on the 30th of December. We have dollar going higher, bonds going higher, and VIX going higher. What is that? Like, anybody out there who is serious about fucking trading, what does that mean? Bonds higher, VIX higher, dollar higher. Hello? Last time that shit happened? Anyone? The crash? The COVID crash, damn it. The COVID crash, damn it. That's when indexes were hitting circuit breakers. We haven't had indexes hit circuit breakers to the downside since the COVID crash. And all those conditions were met. Bonds up, dollar up, VIX up. Okay, those three things, when they go up simultaneously on the same day, it spells disaster for the fucking market. So my projection would be that on January 2nd, 2025, we will get some circuit breakers to the downside in the market, which means the market is going to be paused due to volatility that's going to be approaching a 5% level. I believe the cutoff is like 4.9. So when NASDAQ is going to be down 4.9%, S&P is going to be down 4.9% within the same trading session. RTY, which is Russell 2000, is going to be down 4.9%. Circuit breakers are going to be reading off the chain, and the market is going to be paused for trading to prevent volatility. So that is my prediction for 2025. I think January 2nd, when the market will open up for trading, is going to be a huge ass gap down. Like the one that nobody can imagine today. It's going to be a big, huge ass gap down. similar to the ones that we were observing during the COVID crash. And it's not going to be a one-day endeavor. We're likely to have multiple days lower until the market hits maybe at least 20% lower from recent highs, which, by the way, we're still pretty close to recent highs. Okay? So this situation of twin deficits is absolutely underappreciated by the markets. And if you study the history of the 80s, yeah, the inflation, the Fed has to fight it. It all resolves, all these things resolve into much higher dollar initially, to where United States have to artificially, they actually have to literally, they have to create a pact that is designed to manipulate dollar value to go lower. I don't think that's going to be necessary this time, because at some point the dollar will collapse the fuck out by itself based on what's happening in the world now. But for the time being, if you just look at what was happening in the 80s, the twin deficits, okay, it becomes an issue to the point it's not an issue until the point when it becomes an issue. And I'm telling you, that point is going to be 2025, because based off the actions, not based on what the Republicans are saying, including Trump and Elon, okay, what their actions are, they're telling us that budget deficit is going to go to the motherfucking moon, just like SpaceX. And, you're going to have trade deficits that are going to also, as a result, go to all-time highs in history. Those trade deficits, based off the 80s scenario, tariffs, the budget deficit automatically going to inflate the trade deficit, but it only becomes worse when we're putting the tariffs into the picture. That creates even greater trade deficits. Trade deficits increasing pushes the dollar value higher. That's Reaganomics. That's the 80s. If you study the history, that is why the dollar keeps fucking moving higher. And the Fed admitting that they didn't get inflation under control is another reason why the dollar keeps moving higher. Well, the dollar index, the DXY, is only 5 points away from hitting the high that it has hit during the COVID crash. We're very close. However, VIX is nowhere near 30, 40, 50. It's nowhere near 60. It's nowhere near 80. But I promise you, it's going to be there in not so distant future. So, considering that the most overhyped stocks, nobody's going to be buying them. Everybody's going to be unloading them at the same time. That creates conditions for the market where VIX is absolutely going to fucking explode, probably beyond the levels seen on August 5th. So they're basically in a nutshell for you, okay? There's 100 other reasons that I would like to bring in this podcast, but guys, we got to get back to trading here. And I'm telling you guys, this is the most beautiful setup of all times. If you're serious about trading, come trade this magnificent setup with 30 Market Moves Coach. Okay, but make sure your ass is ready. Make sure you're not just saying you're serious about trading. Make sure you actually really mean it and you really want to do something with your trading in 2025. Okay, the truth is going to come out. Look, I can talk to somebody for 10 minutes and I will tell you, okay, if you're serious about fucking trading or not. Based off a few simple questions I can ask you, I can tell you, what are some of the points you could be improving as a trader literally next week, literally like tomorrow. But you got to come into 30 Market Moves being coachable. You have the greatest, magnificent short selling opportunities while 90% of the market is still highly bullish beyond their fucking mind. If you don't take advantage of that as a trader, I don't know. I don't know what other fucking special invitation the market needs to send you for New Year, for you to get off your ass and do something. If you're not going to do it now, I mean, fucking forget it. You'll never fucking do it. So, these are insane market conditions that I wish more people would take advantage of. That I wish more people would look in the mirror and say, hey, fuck it. I'm ready. I'm going to do what my coach tells me to do. I'm going to fucking do it no matter what. I'm going to put my emotions aside. I'm not going to bitch on the bounce. I'm going to stick with the trade. All the things that are required to capture a big move. I dare that more of you will capture the big move in 2025, and it's not going to be to the fucking upside. It's going to be to the downside, damn it. So, with that said, congratulations. Okay, 2025, be ready to do something that you've never, ever done in your life as a trader. Dare to fucking face your fears and do it in the big way. Enough of the bullshit small trades. Aren't you sick of that shit? Capture the big move for once. Do it with the Etherium Market Moves Coach. Let's roll.